every time he's undertaken a venture outside of professional wrestling, for all of his success within professional wrestling, whenever he has tried to put his hand into some other form of entertainment, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's never worked out well.
Russo'sBrand.com, where the pros are the pros.
I'm just going to read this directly from Sports Illustrated. Vince McMahon is not throwing in the towel just yet. The former WWE chairman is in the beginning stages of creating a new entertainment company, according to a PW Insider report that broke Tuesday afternoon. Despite his ongoing legal issues, McMahon's new venture is being described as an entertainment hub company and will reportedly focus on producing film and TV projects in the realms of fiction and nonfiction. According to PW Insider's report, several ex-WWE employees, including Brad Bloom, have already offered their services to Vinnie Mac's, they wrote Vinnie Mac, to Vinnie Mac's film and TV business. Bloom was WWE's chief operating officer under McMahon and stayed on board with the company after McMahon's second ousting earlier this year, but he resigned after it was discovered that he was corporate officer number 2 in the Janelle Grant lawsuit. Kristen Prouty, a former WWE executive.
I remember Kristen.
Yeah, she is also reportedly connected to this project. She was laid off by Endeavor in May. And the sources are also claiming that this is not a new pro wrestling company, nor anything that will compete with WWE, and they're preparing to launch should McMahon get cleared of his charges, making a headquarters in Los Angeles.
Interesting. The reason I say interesting, I'm not surprised, because we know that Vince sold off quite a lot of stock to garner a lot of funds. He clearly was stockpiling money for a purpose, a reason, I would imagine, and this being it. I guess the reason I say interesting is, and I'm not saying this is to impugn Vince, his intellect, anything, but every time he's undertaken a venture outside of professional wrestling, for all of his success within professional wrestling, whenever he has tried to put his hand into some other form of entertainment, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's never worked out well. And what I mean, like when he did the WBF, the bodybuilding, and all of that, you would think that would just be a natural fit for him, and that he could transfer his knowledge, experience, understanding of marketing, promotion, etc., to that. But the same with football, with the XFL. You would think that, again, you could just transfer and take what experience-wise and understanding of just general marketing and promotion, and just apply those. And you should be considering the amount of success in professional wrestling, you would think he would be able to just walk right through the door and open up the next thing and take off like a rocket. And that hasn't been the case. Even when WWE opened up their own film division, though they were at a modicum of success, but they weren't, to the point where you would have thought they would have been, in light of the fact that of such a long-standing and existing audience for the talent that were in those movies. So I'm kind of curious as to watch and see how this goes. And why would he do it? Well, I don't know why I'm asking that. I know him. I know why. I mean, he's a lunatic. But I mean, he's got all the money he could want. Quite honestly, he ain't got enough time. I'm not saying this in a negative way, just as a statement of fact. He's not got enough time left on the shelf to spend all the money he has right now. Living just a regular everyday life is so boring for him that he has to be challenged in some way. So he has to undertake yet another project instead of just floating off into the sunset, and just go. Man, if I was in his situation at the age he is right now, because how old is Vince McMahon? He's like 77, isn't he?
It's going to be 80 in August.
80. So he's 80 years old. Brother, I'd be going and traveling around the world. I'd be hanging out, going to beaches and just doing all the things I've been wanting to do for years. I just never had the time to do.
Well, think about this. I would assume a couple of things. Number one, I would assume the reason why wrestling is not a part of this because Endeavor, Ari Emanuel, there's probably some type of non-compete. I would think.
Yeah,
absolutely. You would not give Vince the opportunity to open up a company to compete with you. Also, too, bro, like all this stuff needs to pass in order for this to ever happen. First of all, we got to get past the federal investigation. That's number one. Once you say he's clear of that, he's clean of the federal investigation. Now we got to go to Janelle Grant. Now we got to go to that. Now we got to go to the ring boy. So it's either number one, I guess what we're looking at is number one, he better hope through the federal government investigation, they don't find anything. And then if he's able to get through that, I would assume he's just going to settle with everything else if possible. Otherwise, he's going to be tied up in a courtroom for years.
Oh, and the federal investigation is only just beginning. That thing's going to take. It's going to take a very lengthy amount of time. They're not going to be in a rush. It's not like the local PD where, we're done. We've done our investigation. The federal government's they've got nothing but time on their hands and nothing but money and resources. And once they set their sights, they're not going to stop. And it's going to take a long time.
I was very surprised, Al, very surprised, almost shocked that we didn't see the name Kevin Dunn. I would have thought that Kevin would have been the first one to be working with Vince.
You mean in this new company?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to speculate. You have to assume. There's no way you know for sure. But I'm sure Kevin's probably tired.
Yeah. Sure Kevin's got a lot of money.
I'm sure he does. But but he's also been, let's face it, he was the director of a live television program for how many years?
Yeah.
Every Monday and every whatever day SmackDown was done for years. I mean, and going into the office during the week, going on the road, for those couple of days each week, going back into the office. That was practically his life. So God bless him. Good for him if he's, retired and gotten, is able to get away and doesn't want to undertake yet again another major project at that point in his life. I read a thing, and this will sound a little morbid, but it's just, I'm at that point, you are too in your life. At 50 years old, the average person, 60% of their life is over at 50. Now, Kevin Dunn is probably somewhere in the range of what you and I are, between 60 and 65. So why would he want to spend the rest of whatever time he's got left dicking around doing he's been successful, he's made his money, he's got a family. Go have fun, go enjoy yourself.